Ah! The stork is back. I knew it. The following contains spoilers for Episode 7 of Wandavision. You have been warned. And good thing too, because without spoilers, I worry that I wouldn't have enough to say about this one to fill up a whole video. Granted, that's been true the last couple of weeks, but this is the first time I've well and truly felt like an episode of this show was too short for its own good. There's some great stuff this week, but none of it feels explored to quite the degree that it deserves to be. At least, not in the context of this episode as its own piece. Never until this week have I felt genuine disappointment when the credits rolled. Now please, don't take that too harshly. I acknowledge that we've got 2 episodes left, both of which I believe are meant to be an hour long, and in 2 weeks' time, I may conclude that the structuring of Episode 7 as it currently stands was totally necessary. Right now though, this is probably my least favorite of the bunch so far, don't kill me. The biggest strength of the episode, and by extension the thing I wish it spent more time on, is Tommy and Billy. In fact, I almost wish Wanda, Agnes, Tommy, and Billy were the exclusive focus of this week. For one, some great reaction shots from those kids this episode. It's both funny, but also really disquieting in its own right, as someone who can see and relate to the clear signs of kids dealing with an out-of-control parent. More specifically, Wanda in this episode is very clearly coded as having substance abuse issues, and the way that falls on her kids is almost too real to be comfortable. I don't want to get too personal, but that scene where Billy says he likes it at Agnes's house specifically because it's quiet, that's such a disarming moment for someone like me. I felt that need for tranquility after being bombarded by the behavior of a loved one whose faculties are impaired by drink, or drugs, or whatever. Having to leave your own home because of the toxicity that can create, even if the person in question didn't mean to do it, the kind of suffocating feeling that comes off like something physical, like the walls are infected. No kid should have to go through that, Jesus Christ. I already liked the twins, but I've now got this whole other very true-to-life level on which I'm pulling for them to get out of this okay. And why did this have to be the episode that drops the day I decided to write a script about why I don't get personal in these videos? I just feel like the show has grasped onto something unexpected and powerful with this subject matter, and I hope it's not dropped now that the tide of the plot has shifted. The reveal that Agnes was indeed Agatha Harkness, pulling strings from the word go, has the potential to absolve Wanda of a lot. But it shouldn't erase the fact that she spent most of this episode spiraling and actively making her children feel like they can't rely on her. And yeah, about Agatha. I worry that this is a hint of the show deviating from what I've been praising it for the last several weeks. Now, Agnes being Agatha isn't a problem, not at all. I'm not even the least bit miffed about being wrong last week. Like all of us who take part in this theorizing game, I open myself up to the notion of things swinging a certain way, which they are not obligated to. Now, the key to my enjoyment lies solely in execution. And in execution, I don't know, does it feel to anyone else like the reveal scene plays a little bit too much to comic fans? Like, I'm not sure how I expect this particular handling of the name drop and the cheeky song to go over with folks who have no clue that Agatha Harkness is an existing figure in Marvel Comics. I don't know, I feel like I worry about what the non-comic reading layman's viewing experience is far more than anyone else I know. Part of me wants to say now that Agatha's presence is certain that I think that's where our introductions cease. I say part of me because, while my instinct would be to believe that the show isn't going to overburden itself by confirming its supernatural villain this late in the game only to throw in another one like Mephisto or Nightmare on top of all that even later, we still haven't yet met the big-name actor who Paul Bettany has been so excited to work with, and 2 hours is a lot of time. Plus, Monica's aerospace engineer friend who people were expecting to be Reed Richards turned out to be freaking nobody, so I imagine fans will get mad if they can't at least confirm a 2 out of 3 on the character appearances. Speaking of Monica, she's where I once again feel like some major weaknesses of the episode show. I get why you needed to have her enter the Hex again in this episode. Her confrontation with Wanda is really good, and it provides Wanda with an opportunity to repent, which she comes close to almost accepting before Agnes intercepts. All that is great, and with us getting a mid-credit sequence for the first time in this show, it's clear that they need Monica occupying a specific place on the board at the start of next episode. But does anyone else feel like the handling of it from Monica's angle is just a little sloppy? We spent 2 episodes setting up this tank for her to drive into the Hex, only for it to immediately fail and for her to make it inside fine without it. Just feels like a waste of a plot point. I could forgive it if the idea was that we needed some excuse to get Monica and Jimmy out of range when the Hexpansion occurs, so that Monica re-entering can be its own turning point with a scene's worth of focus. The problem is, it's not really a turning point, is it? In theory, Monica pushing herself through that portal as she relives moments with and about her mom should be a transcendent character beat. That should be Monica's What's Up danger, the moment where she solidifies into the woman who everyone else needs her to be for the rest of the story. It's even also the moment of a symbolic rebirth, now that she's firmly got some superpowers. But what actual change has this character undergone leading to this moment? Or more accurately, leading to her and Wanda's confrontation. In this scene, Monica seems to get it. She's come to terms with her grief in a way that she hadn't prior to re-entering the Hex. And hearing a bunch of lines from Captain Marvel overtop her doing that doesn't do enough to tell me how she's reached this conclusion. I don't know, it's just, I like Monica a lot. I was so excited to follow her story, and I still am, but right now it feels like she's suddenly at the end of an arc I didn't get to see. Vision was kinda tertiary this episode as well. The only real progress on his front was Darcy clarifying his own backstory and reaffirming his and Wanda's relationship. Can't say too much about how he was handled, and he feels like the key exemplar of episode 7 as mainly a transitional point. Right now, I'm not sad or angry with how this episode turned out. I was just kinda expecting more. More time given to fleshing out the clear narrative heft here. I'm hoping more than anything that with its last 2 outings, Wandavision lets that heft land big. But now that I'm done being a Debbie Downer, what's your opinion on this episode? I get the feeling most people are gonna take it better than I did, much like episode 3. Leave a comment, a like, and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the future.